Hello and welcome. My name is Lexi and today we're going to take a look at the new Westman Atelier Liquid Super Loaded Highlights. I purchased all three of the shades and I've been testing them for several days. I've worn them in many different ways, so we'll be going through all of those. I've got several demos. We're also doing some updates on skin and hair care products. And this is by request. A lot of people have been asking, for some updates on some of these items that I've been using for quite a while now. So we're going to go through those and let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off with the Westman Atelier. Now, just a little bit about the Westman Atelier Liquid Super Loaded Highlights. We've got this packaging here. This is made from sugarcane, just like the Vital Skin Tint that recently came out. This is black packaging instead of the white in the skin tint. We do have a color-coded label down here on the bottom. And if you look at the three shades, they are color-coded with the color of metal. It can be a little hard to tell. We've got a silver, a rose gold, and a gold. And because it is kind of narrow, the way your light's hitting it can make that not the easiest to always see. So just something to note there. And you should shake these before using because it is going to be a liquid product and it has a lot of oils in there. So they can separate out. So you definitely want to shake it before use. And let's take a look at the skin tint real quickly as well. So here's the skin tint packaging. So you can see, we kind of have this like rosy beige shade here on the bottom and a white cap on the bottom. And then you have your label down here. So again, both of these are going to be very similar in formula. If you have tried this Vital Skin Tint and you didn't like it, you wouldn't like this for the same type of application. And I have to say, I'm not a fan of the skin tint. And the main reason for that is it never sets down. So it never fully sets. So if I go and I touch my face, I will have transfer and so forth. So it kind of, it annoys me because it always has that dewy texture to it. However, for the super loaded liquid highlighters, I don't mind those as much. Because even though it doesn't set down, I'm not using as much product because I'm not really worried so much about coverage. And, I actually tend to prefer wearing this underneath foundation. So I do have to be a little cautious putting my foundation on top of it to make sure everything stays where I want it to be. But I do really like the effect of what it looks like when I wear it underneath. Now I've also worn it on top. It definitely gives you that dewy, hydrated look. And, it's a nice look if you're going for dewy, very fresh, kind of fresh skin. You can see on my face right now, I have it blended with the blush even, and you can see it's definitely going to be very dewy. The problem with me for that is that, over time, that ends up being just a little bit too, it gets a little bit too dewy for me during the day. And when my natural oils start coming through, it ends up looking a bit greasy. So for me, I like these underneath. This one here is the shade Peau de Soleil. Now, these are going to be the same names as the super loaded powder highlighters. However, they are not intended to be the exact same shades. And they're meant more to be a complement to it. And you can wear these in several ways. So I don't have the Peau de Soleil in the powder highlight, but I do have the other two shades. So we'll compare those. So what you can see here is we do really have a clear transparent base, and then you just have a bit of pigment. Now this is going to be shimmery, but notice there's no actual glitter per se in this formula. So it's not really glittery, but it is shimmery. So if you have it piled up here, I feel like I can see like a tiny bit of maybe like micro glitter, but honestly, like once I blend it out, I can't see that at all. So then I'm not really sure if like my eyes are playing tricks on me or not. It's super finely milled. So that's Peau de Soleil. So that is our deepest shade here. And we'll talk about that with the demos in a minute, but I wanted to move on to Peau de Pêche. This is the one that Gucci Westman prefers the most. So she uses this one the most, and she recommends using this kind of as a base underneath your makeup, kind of just like all over for like a healthy skin glow. You can see it's going to be a soft peach, and you can see it's significantly lighter than Peau de Soleil, but since they both have that transparent base, it's really versatile for a variety of skin tones. And before we move on to Peau de Rosé, I'm just going to take the cream powder highlight in Peau de Pêche. And I'm going to put this right here so you can see how that compares. You can see that they're not the same color. They are going to be a different product completely, but they are intended to complement each other. So you can see that the cream is definitely going to be more pigmented. You have kind of a shimmer here, but no glitter in this particular shade. And it's going to be deeper. It also tends to be just, it's a little bit warmer. There's a little bit more orange in there. I have to say, I really do like Peau de Pêche. And we'll talk about how these formulas differ in a minute, but let's take a look at Peau de Rosé. And Peau de Rosé is going to be our softer, cooler tone pink. And you can see it's definitely not too cool. And this is going to be really great for fair and light skin tones if you're looking for just kind of a touch of rosiness there. So let's take a look at the Peau de Rosé shade in the cream highlighter with this as well. So here's that. And here's Peau de Rosé. You can see that Peau de Rosé in the cream is actually slightly cooler in tone. This actually has a little bit of micro glitter. You can see there's a tiny bit of like gold in there even. You can see a little bit of a golden reflect in here. So yeah, it's definitely, this one's going to be more shimmery. The Peau de Rosé in the liquid though, again, just like the other two shades in the liquids, you don't really see any true glitter. And then last up, I wanted to take a look at the Peau de Santé, which is a cream version. This one, it's a little bit different than the Peau de Rosé. You can see it's going to be a little bit warmer. And it's a nice complement, and it's a little bit less shimmery than the Peau de Rosé. So let's take a look at these demos while we talk about these. And in these demos, you'll see that, I'm wearing it as a makeup primer base and so forth. And I've tried this underneath a variety of different foundations, some that have a satin finish, some that have a matte finish and so forth. And even with a matte finish, you can still see some luminosity through there. It's really beautiful. But as the day does wear on, and you'll see this when we get to the wear test in a minute, but as the day wears on, it's not that it separates and causes like product separation on the skin, but it does kind of like, I can feel the oils breaking through. I can feel that tackiness on my skin, even underneath the foundation. So just something to note there. It still holds up. It actually looks pretty good throughout the day. But yeah, that's kind of how that wears. So let's talk about the products, and then we'll talk about my experiences with the different methods. All three of these are made in Italy. They have a 1-year shelf life, and we have 1 fluid ounce. So this is going to be the same size and amount of product as the Vital Skin Tint from Westman Atelier. And again, the 3 shades are meant to complement the cream highlighters in here, but they are intended to be a different purpose. The cream highlight is intended to be used more as a targeted highlight, so something that you'll wear in certain areas. You could even use it like as a blush and so forth, whereas this is intended to be used either underneath foundation or just on its own after skincare to give you kind of that luminous, dewy look to your skin and offer some, hydration from the oils and so forth that are in this formula. You can also use it as a subtle targeted highlight if you dab it on in certain spots. So you've got a little bit more versatility. This is also a product that is intended to be mixed with other things. So if you want to make like a tinted moisturizer, you can mix a drop or 2 of the Peau de Soleil into your moisturizer or the Peau de Pêche, depending on how fair you are, and you can create those different mixtures. These are also products that easily blend in with blushes and lipsticks and so forth to give you just a little bit of added shine with a glossier formula. So there's definitely more versatility with the liquid super loaded. However, my personal preference is still for the cream. The cream, I personally, that's one of my favorite Westman Atelier products. So that still has my heart. Now, according to Westman Atelier, this is a lightweight sheer complexion enhancer that adds life to your skin in an instant. Multi-dimensional pearls reflect light for a you look well glow while letting true skin show through for a uniquely real finish. A concentrated blend of vitamin C, antioxidants, and nourishing oils retexturize, even tone, and brighten skin over time. Wear on its own, layer under foundation, or tap on the high points for a quick touch-up. There are no silicones, parabens, PEGs, talc, phthalates, and no animal testing. So, overall, I have to say this product formula, again, is going to be very similar in texture and consistency to the Vital Skin Tint. It's definitely oil-based. It does not completely dry down, but because I'm using less of this than I would of the skin tint, and most of the time my personal preference for wearing this is actually to use this more in targeted areas. So I actually really like the Pot de Soleil, surprisingly, underneath my foundation, kind of on the cheekbones for a little bit of a bronzer look. And I like the Pot de Soleil and the Pot de Pêche just for like a little bit of brightening in the cheek area. But honestly, I think I prefer the Pot de Soleil because it gives the best effect underneath foundation for me. That is different from other products that I already have. So, we're going to look at some comparisons in a minute, but for my personal preference, I prefer wearing these underneath. Now, mixing these products with different blushes and lipsticks gives you a really beautiful shimmery look. I really love the effect of it, but I do find that anytime I wear these products on top of my foundation or just on skin, I'm just not a fan of how oily it feels throughout the day. If you have dry skin, that might be something that is very much appreciated. My skin is relatively balanced that leans slightly dry. So for me, it's not dry enough for the oils to really be welcome, especially right now that we're heading into summer. However, I do think it gives a really nice, beautiful, dewy look for the summer, so I like that. If you are a fan of cream blush products like Tower 28 and so forth that also kind of don't set down those dewier ones, this will give you that same kind of effect, but I do think that it holds up, the colors hold up a bit better throughout the day than something like the Tower 28. So those, for me at least, they fade significantly by the end of the day. Since this is just a shimmer product, it's not really going to do that. And I can definitely still see that sheen by the end of the day. So just something to note. Now, as I mentioned, when I wear these underneath, I do have to be careful when I'm applying foundation on top. So you don't want to use a brush or a sponge and kind of swipe. You definitely want to use more of a patting motion. If you are swiping, make sure you go in the direction that you want that product, because that product does not totally set on the skin. So even though you're going on top of it, you can still move that. So you kind of want to tap over that. And I think that makes a huge difference. So I love how you can still see that shimmer and that luminosity through foundation. Is this a must-have product? No, I don't think it is. I do think the Pot de Rosé in particular really reminds me of the Chanel Rosé Light Drops and the Jones Road face oils. So that's actually, these products are pretty similar to the Jones Road in particular. So we'll take a look at those. We're also going to look at some liquid bronzers. Let's go ahead and take a look at those comparisons now. So this here is the Jones Road Shimmer Face Oil, and this one is in shade Pink Opal. I really like this product. I use this one quite a bit. I like this as a primer all over. It's not quite as shimmery as the Pot de Rosé or these other ones, so it's a little bit more subtle. You can see tonally it's going to be a little bit cooler, but it's not like super cool. It's more like just this is going to be a warm pink. This is a slightly cooler pink. You can see that it's shimmery, but the shimmer is less intense than that in the Westman Atelier. I like this either all over as a primer, mixed into my concealer, or even just, on my cheeks. So this is also an oil, but I find that, it doesn't move quite as much. It's a thinner texture than the Westman Atelier. The Westman Atelier, you can definitely buff that out, shear it out, and so forth, and it becomes a very thin texture, but you still have, like, the oils in there are a bit more emollient. You can feel that they have a little bit of a thicker consistency themselves, and that's what I notice mainly as a difference here. So the Westman Atelier just feels a bit oilier than the Jones Road. So just something to note there, but I think these are pretty equal in, how they perform on the skin, the actual appearance. And again, the Jones Road does come in other colors. This is the only one that I have. Let's take a look at some other items. So these are the Chanel Rosy Light Drops. We're going to just put this one right here. And you can see that this is another soft kind of ballet pink. This is going to be a bit more subtle. It's not as oily. This I really like tapped on as a highlighter, on top of foundation, because this will kind of set down a bit. I also really like using this mixed into my concealer. So this will be more subtle. It's more of an ivory pink. I think it's a great product. Just slightly different. And my closest to the Peau de Pêche is going to be the new Gucci liquid highlighter. So let's see here. Where can we put this? I'm going to squeeze this in right here. Okay, so here is the Gucci. This is Peau de Pêche. This is Peau de Soleil. So let's go ahead and see how that goes. And you can see this also has a pretty transparent base. It's going to be warmer than Peau de Pêche. There's more gold in here. When you shear this out, you actually see more of those yellow tones in the Gucci than you do in the Peau de Pêche, which definitely has a bit more peach. So between the two of them, I personally prefer the color of the Peau de Pêche. The Gucci highlight, again, you can use this similarly all over or in a drop of something. You can use it as a targeted highlight. This is not going to be quite as oily as the Westman Atelier, but it does still feel a little bit thicker in formulation, and it also does not 100% set down, but it will set more than the Westman Atelier. And then we have the Jones Road liquid bronzers here. So let's take a look at those. I'm going to put this one here is a shade light. I'm going to put this right up here and just shear that out. Now, this is not going to be shimmery in the same sense that the Westman Atelier. This is really just more of a liquid bronzer. We do have a luminous sheen here, but it doesn't have that pearlescent effect. You can see that the light shade, though, is going to be pretty similar to the Peau de Soleil. Slightly more golden in the light tone than the Peau de Soleil, but they are pretty close, particularly in the depth of the color. Let's also take a look at the medium, which is going to be a little bit richer. And I actually prefer the medium on me because it has a bit more of that reddish tone. And this is another product I like to use underneath foundation. So this will give you a bit of a luminosity, but it's not going to give you that pearly, shimmery effect. And you can see that this is going to be a bit more red. It's more of a reddish brown compared to the Peau de Soleil. So these are my comparisons for the Westman Atelier Liquid Super Loadeds. I hope these were helpful. Overall, my final opinions on this product, I think it's a nice product. It's a good product for, a nice dewy highlighted look. For me personally, I think if you're going to use this in small amounts underneath foundation as a base to give yourself some luminosity, I think it performs very well in that respect. It is, however, a very oily product, so that's not going to work with everybody's skin. And if you're wearing this on top, I do find that during the humid days, it just ends up turning a little bit too greasy for me. If you are in a drier climate, because it's been pretty humid here. So if you don't have as much humidity, or if it's during the winter, that's probably not going to be something that affects you. And in that case, it can give you that really beautiful luminous glow. But if you are going to be in a warmer climate with more humidity, I personally think that using this underneath a product, you can powder on top of this, by the way. It performs just fine. If you notice the eye demo where I did the concealer, powdering on top of that actually made it work very well, and you still had some of that luminosity. I think that's a great way to use this as well. But I do think that this product, since it does not set on its own, you need something on top to kind of hold it in place. But overall, I think it's a nice product. It's just not, they didn't hit it out of the park, in my opinion. So let's move on to my updates. Now, back when the Sephora sale was happening, what was that, March, April, I purchased some shampoo bars, and I actually purchased two different brands. So this is the container from the one brand, but I haven't actually tried their shampoos. These are called the Superzero shampoo bars. So this is the like unscented one, and then I bought the purple one, and then this is the Superzero conditioning bar, which you can see it's going to be a different shape. So Viore was the Viore, I forget what it was, but that brand, that's what this container's from. So I will be trying those soon. I've been using these since the sale, and you can't tell that I've been using this. Like, this is pretty much full size. I don't really have too many dents. Now the purple one I've only used a couple times, but this one is the one that I use on a regular basis. So you can see how much like use there is from there. You know, it really lasts a long time. So what I do in the shower, I wet my hair and then I scrub this on my scalp. You don't need too much, and then it foams up, and you know, it actually performs super well. So I figured that the shampoo bars would be nice. Maybe they'd be a bit drying. That's been my experience with shampoo bars in the past. And, you know, a lot of times I end up with like a hair coating and so forth. And then, you know, after a few uses, I'm like, I don't want to use these anymore. But these pleasantly surprised me. And then the conditioning bar, I thought it would be pretty ineffectual. But no, it works really well. It definitely conditions my hair fully without feeling like greasy or anything. I use these almost every time that I wash my hair. I wash my hair almost daily. And yeah, once in a while, maybe like once every week or two, I will switch it up and use one of my traditional shampoos or conditioners, or like a clarifying one or something. But I actually went 2 full months just using the bars, and I thought my hair was great. So I have to say the Superzero shampoo bars and conditioners have been pretty impressive. So really like those. Those are still going well. I am going to start the Viore ones as well, which is what I bought. These containers came in. So we'll be starting those soon. I'll give you an update on those later, let you know which one of the brands I think is better. But the Superzero, I'm very impressed with. This is definitely, if you travel a lot and you don't like those shampoo the mini shampoos and conditioners from hotels, 'cause I like to bring my own personally, you know, I think the bars are a great way to go. Now, I wanted to share a couple of hair care products. This was sent to me from Fable in Maine, and I have purchased some of their products in the past. This is a new product from them. It is the Maha Maine Detangling Leave-In Conditioner. Now, I don't really need a leave-in conditioner often. My hair is very fine, and it can get oily pretty quickly, you know, so I don't typically need a leave-in conditioner too often, but when I use one, I want it to be hydrating, and I want it to make my hair easy to comb out and so forth. This really does that. Now, am I a great spokesperson for that? No, but you know who is? My daughters. My daughter, particularly my oldest, she has very long, thick hair, and, you know, I use the expensive conditioners on her hair because it gets dry so easily. So we really have to worry about hydrating her hair. You know, because it is so long, you know, it's down to her butt basically. So since it is so long, and she's a kid who does a lot of like gymnastics and stuff, it's always getting tangled and in knots and so forth. My other daughter, my youngest, her hair, she cut it relatively recently, but it's still like maybe to like here on her. So, you know, hers is thinner like mine, but her knots are the worst, you know, just like I had when I was a kid. You know, you get those like rat's nest knots when you wake up and so forth. So they really need a great leave-in conditioner detangling spray. We have used everything. Their favorite so far has been the Way leave-in conditioner, and we use that on the really tough knots, but that can be a little bit heavy on my youngest daughter's hair because, you know, it is finer. So if we have to spray that too much, you know, then she's not too happy with that. So they've really liked that one, and it's definitely a great product. But I let them try this, and this is now their new favorite. My oldest daughter, she doesn't want to use anything other than this. This is now her favorite, and, you know, it's really great. So it has it's a little bit of a fruity spa-like scent. So it's definitely not overpowering or overwhelming or anything. It's subtle, but there's a little bit of that fruity note to it. So it smells very fresh, kind of smells a little tropical without smelling like coconut. And it's just really nourishing. One of the things I like about it is this button here. This is the on off. Okay, so now I have this in the off position. So this isn't going to, you can get like a tiny bit out, but you can see that I can't really depress this. But if I want to actually spray it, I just flip this little switch here and then let me just spray it on this cloth here. You can see it will spray out. So it's just such a great product. I love this for opening and closing it. It's so much better than looking for the cap because we always lose those. So I wanted to share that because if you have a situation where you need something like that, I definitely think that is a fantastic product and it is definitely going to be our go-to now. Now, they also sent me this hair oil too. This is the Maha Mane Smooth and Shine Hair Oil. I'm using this right now. I think it's a nice hair oil. But again, the standout for me is definitely this detangling leave-in spray. But I did want to mention hair oils that I like using. I've had a few questions on that. So I do like that one. I am still pretty obsessed with the Jones Road and Hervé Claude. This is the Universal Hair Balm. So this product here, it's kind of like a, it has more of a watery consistency. Like it's gel, but it's very lightweight. And then I can just put this in. It doesn't weigh my hair down. It has more of an herbal fragrance to it, but it just performs so well. I really like that. So that's a go-to for me. And then the Sisley, I actually have the big bottle of this, but every time I get the samples, I use the samples and it will take me, like this little bottle here can last me months because I just use the tiniest dot and then rub it in my hands and it actually works really well that way. For me, usually hair oils, they can weigh my hair down because it is very fine. So if I use just the tiniest bit of this, this was my favorite until I tried the Jones Road. Now I would have to say that they're tied. And again, I'm enjoying this Fable and Mane one too. So that might make it up there into my top 3. But right now, it's in my top 3, but right now it's in 3rd place. So we'll see if that changes over time. But yeah, definitely those are some great products. Now, I also wanted to share a couple other items from the Sephora sale that I picked up and how they've been going. So this is the Soleil Toujours Mineral Ally Eye Glow and Illuminator. This is SPF 15, an SPF 15 eye cream. So I have to say, I think this is a nice product. You can see it's kind of got a light peach color. It doesn't really impart color on the skin, but it's not going to give you that white cast. It does have a little bit of a sheen to it, so you get some illuminating there. And it offers SPF. It's very gentle. I personally don't like to use the applicator. I always like to decant it on my skin. The applicator feels great going on, but I find if I use it, I end up dispensing too much product. So I just put it on here and then tap it on myself. I think this is a really nice product though. So I've been enjoying this and I've been using this since April 20th. Another product I picked up from Soleil Toujours, this is the Mineral Ally Daily Defense Sunscreen. This is actually a body lotion with SPF in it. So this is SPF 30. There's a tinted version and this is the untinted version. So I purchased the untinted and I like to wear SPF on my body, like anytime I go out during the summer. But if I'm not going to be out very long, I hate the feeling of full sunscreen. So I wanted an SPF lotion, which is what this is. So I think this is really nice for that. However, I do find that it does not offer any hydrating qualities to it. So it's comfortable, feels like you're putting on a body lotion. It absorbs into your skin. You don't feel like you have sunscreen on. So I think all of that is great. But it is not going to give you any moisture or hydration like you would get with a regular body lotion. So just something to note. So I like this product and I will definitely use this up. I don't know if I'll repurchase it though. The Eucerin body lotion with SPF in there, that's something that we've used for many years in our house. And, I was looking for something with a higher SPF, but for the price point, I think I'll probably stick with the Eucerin. But I do think this is a nice product that I'll be happy to use. And just one more Soleil Toujours product. This is their SPF. It's the Mineral Ally Hydra Lip Mask. It's a little hard to read with the lighting there. But this is an SPF lip balm. It actually feels like a lotion on my lips. I think it's nice for summer. At first, when I first started using this a couple of months ago, I didn't really love it because it would really sink in like like a water-based lotion, and I didn't really get that moisture I was looking for. Now that it's warmer out, that's really not bothering me. I've been putting this on during the day. It gives me a very light layer of hydration. It actually makes a nice base to add my lip products onto. And yeah, so I do like it. Would I repurchase this one? I'll see when I get a little bit further into it, but I think so. For summertime, it's one that I probably won't use as much during the winter because I do like something a little bit balmier during the colder months. But right now at this time of year, this is a nice product. I know that they sell this in tinted versions too. That's not available on Sephora, but if you're purchasing the brand Soleil Toujours from other places, like I know Anthropologie carries it and so forth, then they do have other ones. And my friend Jennifer at Just Glow Firefly, she's used those. She says those are better than the untinted one. So she loves those ones in particular. This one she doesn't love as much, but I have come to like it. So I hope that was helpful. Another thing I've been using since the Sephora sale is this Shiseido sunscreen, and I've used other versions of this in the past. It's a great, nice sunscreen serum type consistency. I like it. I think it's a great basic. That's my current sunscreen of choice that I put on my face daily. Other products I've been using up a lot of the products that I have. So, if you've seen some of my older skincare videos, I have been using Auteur and Calisym, and I really love both of those brands. And I think once I finish using up kind of things that I have open, I think I'm going to just have a blended skincare routine that focuses mostly on those, along with some Ray Trouvé favorites. So one of my favorites from Ray Trouvé, this is the Nutrient Face Serum. This is my favorite product from Ray Trouvé, and I always have this on hand. I just finished up this particular jar of it. I opened this one March 9th. I did not use it daily though. So when I do use it daily, I typically get I usually get about 3 months of use, like a solid 3 months with one pump twice a day. But I used this about once a day, 2 pumps a lot of times, and not every single day. So I just finished this one up yesterday, and yeah, overall it's one that I always like to have. It does have like vitamin C and everything, and this is a product during the summer. I can use it alone as a moisturizer, but throughout the rest of the year, I use it kind of as a lightweight serum on the skin, and then I put a heavier moisturizer on top. So that's a staple I'll have. I still loving the Calisym, the serums, the little pink bottles, and the multi-action cream. Those are staples for me, and I'm still using those right now. And then Auteur, I'm really torn on that one, what's it called, the #1 compound. It's insanely expensive, but I do really love that product. So I'm still using that one, and we'll see. I don't know if I'll repurchase. Honestly, it's kind of out of my budget, to be honest, but it's just so great. So I have been testing some other, retinol products, and these were both sent to me a while back. So this one, the Medicate Crystal Retinol 6, this I got during the winter, and so I started using this one in February. And yeah, I think this is nice. It's a great retinol. You definitely can notice some brightening effects. If you're on a prescription or something, that's obviously going to be way better. But I like to just use a little bit because my skin is very sensitive to that. I've had vitamin A allergies in the past, so I'm very careful with products that contain retinol. Another one is the Murad Resurgence. This is relatively new. So this came out just a couple months ago, and I didn't write the date on this one. But I have been using this one, and I have to say, honestly, between the two of them, I actually prefer the Murad. And this one is the Retinol Resculpt Overnight Treatment. I have not noticed any sort of effect using this, like any sort of like negative drying effect on my skin. So this definitely, it actually has a little bit more of a hydrating feeling to it. So I can put this on, it feels comfortable. I really like this one. And since my skin is very sensitive, this is one that I feel like I don't really have to regulate and be careful with. So I'm really enjoying this. And this is, I'm going to keep using this. And, the Auteur, the #1 compound, it's still a better product. I notice more effects with that. But is the price of that worth the price of something like this? You know, it's a judgment call. It has to do with your budget and so forth. But I think, unfortunately, those first probably out of my budget. But if I had an unlimited budget, I would definitely get that one. But I think this is going to be my runner-up for that product category. And one more item that Medik8 sent me. This is their Advanced Night Ceramide. This is a nice lightweight lotion. I'm enjoying this during the winter months. You know, it's technically a night cream, but if you have dry skin, I find it's not moisturizing enough. If you have oily, combo, or normal, I think that this adds a nice layer of moisture at this time of year in particular. And yeah, I actually really like this texture because, again, it doesn't leave any sort of film on my skin. I think this is a really nice product. So this is one that I am happy to continue to use. And this is one that I would purchase myself as well. So I think this is definitely a nice product. And then Tatcha. I used up another jar of the Indigo Repair Cream. This is the overnight repair cream. I love this. I use this as an overnight cream during the summer, but during the winter, I use this as my daytime moisturizer. I love the texture because it's not greasy on my skin. It's definitely hydrating and it sinks in for me. So I find this is my favorite moisturizer of theirs I've tried. It's one of my favorite moisturizers that I've used in general because it doesn't leave me with that filmy feel on my skin. So yes, I really love this. And actually Tatcha sent me another jar of this. So I have one waiting for me. And they also sent me my favorite Camellia cleansing oil. So I use that to remove my makeup. That and the Chanel cleansing oil. Those are my two favorite cleansing oils. And I have gone back to cleansing oils over cleansing balms to remove the makeup because I find it's just a little bit more gentle on my eyes to use the oil and dissolve everything that way. And then I second cleanse. I'm actually using the Euphoria jelly cleanser. So that's what I use then. And then in the shower in the morning, I use the Revision. I use the Revision face cleanser with, you know, it smells like oranges. I love that. I have it in a big pump bottle. I've shown it on my channel before. And, you know, I have gone through 1.5 of the big pump bottles so far. So yeah, I love that. That's one that I'm going to keep rebuying. I love the fragrance of it. It's a very subtle citrus and it just, you know, kind of makes me feel fresh in the morning without leaving any film or residue. But the Euphoria cleanser at night, you know, that like foams up and I feel like it removes the oil very nicely and helps remove any other makeup residue I might have. And it's not drying or filmy on my skin. So those are kind of all of the staples that I've been using. And yeah, I would love to know what you guys have been using right now. I just started trying out some Beauty Set products that they sent me, but I'm also incorporating some of my staples as well. So let me know if you want to see more updates on things like that. As for technology, I'm about to start trying the Zip device. And I'm still using my Current Body face mask and LED eye mask. I use a LED eye mask, you know, at least 4 times a week. I really love that because I can put it on and by the time I'm done brushing my teeth, it's done. The face mask, I need like a full 10 minutes. So that one I don't get to use quite as frequently because, you know, life, kids, and so forth. So I hope this was helpful. Please let me know what you'd like to see in the future. And I did have a viewer suggestion for a Q&A, like a live Q&A on products, you know, like request swatches and comparisons and things like that. So let me know if you're interested. I'm thinking of doing something like that very soon. So I can't wait to see what you guys say in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in and I hope you have a lovely day.